Hey everybody, what's going on? My name is Steven, that's Christian, and welcome to the Abnormal Pictures podcast on this special edition of Father's Day. Happy Father's Day to you and to all of our listeners. So, wanted to start off by saying we have a couple announcements. First of all, I am not lazy anymore. I updated the Twitter. I made a cool profile picture for us. I drew that, I just want to say, pretty cool. Also, too, we have a Facebook account. Both of those will be linked in the description. If you want to talk to us, reach out to us, give us ideas, talk about things, that's what we're here for. All right, cool? That's number one. Number two, both of us are going to be seeing Spider-Man on Thursday of its release. That will be the 30th of July. Unfortunately, I don't get to laugh at Christian as much as I hoped I would because he is now going to see it earlier than I did. I know that I've been talking about seeing it like on the release date on that midnight. He's going to see it earlier than I will. So, we'll see how all of that goes. But other than that, do we want to start with the Spider-Man trailer? Talk about that?
Yes, let's jump into it because this could be a very long conversation.
Yeah. So I wanted to first start off by saying, and I put this up on Twitter, dude, Spidey just fucking killed Scorpion in the trailer. Did you see the way he didn't have a helmet on? Gargan is dead, bro. He just killed him, man.
He's definitely not dead, but he wouldn't belt the ass on him.
Yeah, dude, he went beast mode for a second there. So what do we think?
Yeah.
What do we think? Do we think that it's going to be Man Spider or the symbiote? What do we think on that one?
I don't know enough about the Man Spider and the comics, but I don't remember like during his transformation period him being extra aggressive because of the mutation.
Hmm.
I do know the only times that I know of him being extra aggressive in the comics is when he has symbiote.
Symbiote, yep. Hmm.
So we've had the talk. This is where I'm at with it. I think we're going to see the Man Spider because there is a specific scene that really made me think of it. I don't know if we talked about it, but it was the scene where he was swinging and he hits those pigeons.
Yeah.
And it's like the pigeons kind of got wrapped around him. It looked very CGI, which obviously it's going to because he's web swinging.
Right.
They're not real pigeons. But to me, he kind of ripped like this, basically his side, which to me, I'm like, oh
The
shit.
extra
If they're trying to
arms.
hide,
Yep.
yeah, if they're trying to hide the fact that they're going to do the man spider, that would be a perfect way to do it. Say he's just web swinging, he hits some pigeons, he's trying to rip them off. To me, that was my first indicator where I'm like, ah, fuck, we might actually get the man spider.
Yep. I mean, that's like I said, after seeing Spider Noir and seeing Man Spider actually appear in live action, my head immediately was like, this can happen in Brand New Day. Like, this is a real possibility now. The fact that Sony was willing to do that in a spinoff and people received it. Well, obviously, at that point, they had already filmed the movie for Brand New Day. However, it makes sense. And, with you mentioning the pigeons, I had seen that too. People were bringing up the rumor that potentially this is where he has the arms, where he's going through the transformation. But also, too, I've seen people talk about potentially that he dies at the end of the movie. And these are all leaks, or not leaks, but spoiler, just people coming up with rumors and things like that. But him potentially dying and the symbiote bringing him back to life, leading into Secret Wars. And we know that there's only, two projects you said that were in between this and, Doomsday and Secret Wars. So we'll see. We'll see how that goes.
Well, so like I was telling you, there's two things to this. They did say that this movie has no ties into Doomsday. Like there's no ties to Doomsday whatsoever. That's
They
what I've
say a
heard
lot
so
of
far from.
things.
So I don't know how true that's going to be. And also I've heard from the critics' reviews that they loved the movie, but it was the ending that they didn't like.
Yeah.
And that's when I told you my kind of theory for that. Obviously, I haven't seen the movie, but my guess is yes, he dies at the end of the movie. That's where we see the symbiote grabbing him, and then the classic eyes pop open, something like that. Something that's cliche that would people would have a reason not to like it. And that would
Right.
be the only thing I can think of. But Tom, I know the director or someone just said treat this as it's Tom Holland's last movie as Spider-Man, which that could just be him saying it because contracts and everything.
No, he still has, I
This
think,
would
2 or 3 more appearances as Spider-Man in movies on his
okay.
contract.
I,
Yeah.
I, I wasn't sure, but this could be a good way to potentially segue into a different Spider-Man.
See, did you see people reacting to the one black guy on the board and being like, or on Ned's board and being like, "Oh, that's Miles," because he has fucking
Yeah,
dreads or whatever? I'm like, no, no.
am I still okay? I'm still there.
Yeah, yeah,
But I was kind of, I was, but wasn't, because I know we've had the conversation where they're not going to allow them to use Miles in live action, but I think that's a very cool Easter egg, even if it's not Miles, to be like, potentially there's another Spider-Man out there
yeah.
because Marvel could wholeheartedly do that where there is another Spider-Man and they just don't introduce him until they're allowed to actually introduce him because they've done that before. They've referenced other Marvel characters they didn't have the rights to, but they didn't use their names and stuff. Like they made subtle references. So this could definitely be one of those. And I thought as soon as I seen it, first off, I knew people were gonna be like, "That's Miles,"
Yeah.
because when I saw it in my brain, I'm like, okay, the whoever is in that picture, they could definitely play Miles. I'll say that now. They definitely had the look to play Miles.
I
I
do.
don't think it is.
I don't think it is either. I just wanted to say it doesn't make sense, chronologically, normally how we see the characters as Miles being younger than Peter. And also, too, we saw Donald Glover. That is I mean, yes, we had the blip, though. We did have the blip. That's a thing.
Yeah,
That was a 5-year skip. So potentially, I don't think that, and it's not about allowing Miles like in live action. They definitely have the rights. They definitely can do that. I was saying before in the podcast that it was definitely that they don't want to have multiple Miles at the same time because they're still not released on that third movie. But it would make sense that when Spider-Verse's final movie comes out, which would be next year, we're not going to have any Spider-Man projects for at least a couple of years, right?
yeah,
Peter, even if this doesn't have, and I think it's bullshit, I think they're just doing their normal Marvel marketing, he's going to appear in either Secret Wars or Doomsday. He has to. He just has to.
yeah,
He's so iconic, right? But you take that character and you put him into there. I was talking about Noel before. We've seen Noel on screen, only glimpses though with Venom.
yeah,
Having the symbiote be connected across the multiverse opens a whole lot of possibilities. It's a whole lot of
yeah,
possibilities to potentially bring Noel in. But also, too, if you wanted to get rid of Peter, that'd be the way to do it. You can have him sacrifice himself similar to Tony Stark in Secret Wars,
yeah.
maybe defeating Noel. I don't know. Just me. That'd be pretty cool. But yeah.
See,
Go ahead. Go ahead.
the difficulty I have with it is I think Secret Wars wants to destroy the multiverse because that would be my guess is what or they could just be trying to destroy certain planets because obviously it's been done different ways in the comics. If they go the route of destroying the multiverse, then no, you can't have that null connection, but you can rebrand the world. You can put Null into this new universe, and that's when you can recast Spider-Man because it's partially a new universe. You can keep some characters, you can get rid of others. Like I had that theory about Doctor Strange. He's going to be somewhere where he doesn't get affected, and when he comes back, there's stuff that's different. He could
Hmm.
be that kind of connector. Obviously, I'm not in those writing rooms. I have no idea what they're going to do. If I was writing it, it probably wouldn't be better than it has been, but it might be as well.
Yeah, right. Um, I just think I feel like Noel is such a big character that you have to utilize him at some point further than the Tom
Yeah,
Hardy Venom movies, right? The symbiotes are so important and they're so massive in the universe. I think it would be really cool to see a Noel adaptation, especially because of the he basically is a cosmic level threat. You know what I mean? Like
Yes.
he is the top dog aside from the actual cosmic people like, Galactus, etc., right?
And it's funny because Null's actually one of the newer villains in Marvel, and he's been amazing. And
Yes.
we had the conversation. I feel like they're starting to do him to death though, and that's what like sucks about characters that get so big so quick. It's like, great, we finally have a new good character. They're like, let's oversaturize this fucking character.
See, I think it's a little different because are you're talking more about comic adaptation though, because I really haven't seen
Yeah,
him screen wise. Yeah, like yes, comics,
no,
sure, but a lot of people, again, the general audiences don't really know Noel like that. You know what I mean? Like he
yeah,
hasn't made a ton of appearances. He's had one live action appearance, and that was in the Venom movie. So I don't like in comic wise, sure, he's been done to death. However, and so have
yeah.
symbiotes. By the way, symbiotes have been done to fucking death,
Oh God, yeah.
and
But
that's
Noel's
Aviarad.
like he's very, very new. Like he's 2010s new, isn't he?
Yeah, so same as like the God Butcher and shit like that. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep. But obviously he is a really cool character and it's a cool concept and trying to give more origin to the symbiote, to Venom and Carnage and how they're
yeah,
all connected. It makes sense that there is an origin instead of just like, oh yeah, here's this alien from Iraq.
yeah.
It sounded like I said
Well, does it?
Iraq, but
Yeah. Doesn't Gore's sword have ties to Null as
yes.
well?
Yes, yes, yes,
I
yes.
was gonna say the sword in the movie has ties, which is it was very confusing because didn't that Venom movie come out around the same time?
I thought it came out after Love and Thunder.
It came out after. Yeah,
Yeah.
because I know a lot of people are confused about it because those creatures that showed up kind of look symbiote like in the Thor movie, and I know that sword had ties to Null, so it's like,
Yep.
do we have a Null in the MCU that we haven't seen yet?
No, well, we haven't seen a Null, yeah, but yeah, you're
Exactly.
correct,
But
yeah.
it's like, is that in the universe already? Because we have that Necromancer sword and we have that. So it's like, is he already tied to the universe? Is there gonna be two separate symbiotes? Because we know Tom Hardy's symbiote got left behind. Could the MCU potentially have a hidden symbiote as well? And then that way you could do a Venom Carnage story. One of them is from a separate universe and the other is from this universe, which is something we haven't seen done yet, which would be kind of cool in my opinion.
So, you know what I think it'd be really interesting? If you have the symbiote that is left over, obviously from Tom Hardy, that starts the process. Think about Spider Man 2 in the Insomniac games. Think about how he was trying to take over the world, essentially. What if this is the birth of Null in this specific universe because of the tie?
Yeah,
Because, again, they're all hive mind, they're connected multi universe. We know that because Venom immediately recognized Spider Man when he appeared
yeah,
in that after credit scene. So, potentially, I mean, this is all rumors, obviously, speculation, but that would be a really cool
yeah,
concept because Spider Man 2, I thought that was a really cool element of the story is Venom. And Venom has a lot of that where in the comics too,
yeah.
where he tries to take over the world and make it kind of symbiote like, right?
Hmm.
Is there a potential? And again, with you bringing that up, you are very correct. Love and Thunder bringing the Necromancer's sword, having connections to Null already. We've seen it in other MCU projects. We've seen it in the Sony projects. Is there a potential that this is going to be like a big bad that's going to come up eventually?
Yeah.
I mean, to be fair, we wasted Mephisto so far as we know already. So yeah.
But there's something else in the trailer. I think those are two of the things from the Spider-Man trailer. We're gonna have a lot of good Punisher Spider-Man moments, which I'm really
Yes.
excited for.
Did you see the where he's
Um,
really New York and he goes, "The fuck is you talking about?" He's doing that to him.
yeah.
Yeah.
Um, I was bummed we didn't get to see Tombstone. But to
Yes.
me, that's telling me everyone says Tombstone's going to have a small role. To me, if they haven't viewed him yet, that tells me he might have a bigger role than they're letting on.
Hmm.
And I know you just sent me that theory you sent me today about the whole, what was it, Jackal thing.
Yeah.
I know that's a big theory right now. I've seen Shadow King as a potential theory. because Shadow King is someone that can jump into different bodies and manipulate characters. Um, I'm still holding out hope that Sadie Sink is actually Rachel Summers and not Jean.
Yeah.
I'm still holding out hope. I just, and something cool that the trailer showed was everyone getting affected by this mind blast except Punisher.
Punisher and
And
Spidey. Yeah.
yeah, and if you watch Punisher's special, it makes sense. He is so psychologically messed up that it's probably hard to penetrate a mind that's so messed up like that. And I like the psychological aspect of it. I'm going to school for psychology, so stuff like that is interesting to me.
Hmm.
So seeing that and seeing how Punisher wasn't one of the people affected was very cool, especially after watching his special and them really diving into psychological aspects of his character.
Yeah, that is a really big point that a lot of people aren't bringing up from the trailer. Like people are, obviously talking about Spidey and the web swimming, and the web swinging looks great. By the way, it looks really, really good.
Yes.
But that, and then obviously Hulk, which we'll talk about in a minute. But people really haven't been talking so much about why is Punisher not affected by this person, like this enemy, and he is in the trailer standing there looking around at all the frozen people. I really haven't seen people
Yeah.
talking about that, like on social media. But I did want to say, in regards to Tombstone, obviously, yes, we haven't seen him, and that is unfortunate. Scorpion has been shown a lot in the promotional
Yeah.
stuff. So
Yeah.
and from what I can gather, right, that is going to be the first time that Peter starts to transform or freak out type of deal. Like
Hmm.
he uses his super crazy rage and bashes the hell out of him, which we see in the trailer. I think that's probably going to be in the introduction scene, how we've talked about. They're probably going to do like a time skip with multiple, like we talked about
Yeah.
who was the guy that you sent me? Fucking random
Ramrod
C-list.
or
Ramrod, yeah.
yeah, the Ramrod. Yeah.
But they're probably going to
Um,
do those, just a quick.
so here's how I'm feeling. Obviously, Scorpion and Spider-Man have history, and you could even tell from that confrontation that he kind of referenced it. I don't think this will be their first confrontation in the movie,
Mm.
but I think this is going to be the confrontation that really turns him into full-on Scorpion. Because I think he's going to do some definite damage, and I think that's when he's going to get maybe a more full costume, because obviously he has the tail, but that's really kind of all he has. I think he could get like more of the cowl kind of thing as well. I think obviously Spider-Man's going to do some damage slamming him into a cop car because
Into the ground, yeah.
he's clearly not enhanced yet. We
Yeah.
know in the comics, though, he becomes enhanced. And that's kind of what I'm trying to reference, not more costume wise, but I believe after that is when he is going to become more enhanced. How they go about that, I'm not sure, but I definitely see that happening after this confrontation.
It's going to have to be damage control. It's going to have to be. And that would make a whole lot of sense because they have these superpowered individuals that they are detaining. What if they are
Yeah,
experimenting on these people? What if Tombstone has a connection in that regard of how he got his powers is actually connected to there instead of the chemical company that we know in the comics? It leads to that point.
yeah,
Damage control is the biggest question mark. It's the biggest question mark right now because people don't talk about it so much, but it's been in so many projects. I just finished Miss Marvel, right? Miss Marvel, damage control, right?
yeah,
Wonder Man, damage control. Brand New Day, damage control. It makes a whole lot of sense that these are going to be people behind the scenes that are pulling the strings for the movie, as I said in the last podcast. It makes a whole lot of sense. And the fact that we see the lead, the head of the DODC in the trailer, like
yeah,
multiple times. He's there, he's talking, we see him in promo pictures where he's shaking Spider-Man's hand,
yeah.
it has to be.
In the comics, too, he is actually someone that really hates mutants.
Yeah.
So as much as I hate it, like the Jean Grey connections start coming more and more, and I'm like, but it could definitely happen, and that's a great way to do it. I'm going to talk about another underrated part that some people are actually mad about. Spider-Man being quippy, doing the
Yeah.
whole stretching and everything. Dude, that was hilarious. That's
Yep.
Spider-Man right there. That is
Yes.
classic Spider-Man. And there's people that were pissed off about that. I'm like, d- like they must be like big Toby fanboys because he wasn't really a quippy Spider-Man.
No.
But oh, dude, I loved it. I'm like, this is what we want. I hope we get more of that throughout the movie too. I mean, we kind of got it in Civil War when he's fighting Winter Soldier and Sam Wilson,
Yeah.
the Falcon at the time. He was fighting them and he's kind of quippy with them. So that we have seen it, but not to the extent I think they're going to show in this movie. Um, he did another one with the Hulk. He's like, I've never seen you that big.
Yeah. Um,
Which
yeah.
I think that's a shot at Marvel too, because obviously there's been a lot of complaints about the Hulk and how he's appeared. I think that's a little subtle shot too that Sony might have thrown in there just to throw a little jab at Marvel because obviously they kind of have their thing going on.
Yeah, yeah, I think obviously with that the quippiness, what I saw people complaining about were people more saying the fact that he wasn't doing it while he was actually fighting, but it was before. And I was like, what are you talking about? We haven't seen any quipping at all. We've seen a little bit, like you
Yeah,
mentioned, in like Civil War, but for Spider-Man to actually sit there to do the little stretch and get ready to go and to just talk, I'm not in high school anymore. That's cool. That's what I
yeah,
want from my Spider-Man. And the thing is, Tom Holland has been talking extensively about the fact that he went and he was actually listening to podcasts, should have been us, but listening to podcasts, researching this stuff and seeing what fans actually wanted from the character. And that leads me to believe that this is going to be at the level of, I'm going to probably put it, I'm really overhyping, really going crazy. I think it'll be Spider-Man 2 level of really, really, really good movie. I really do
yeah,
believe that. And I think that I was very concerned about how many characters and how much stuff that we were going to have to tie into this movie. It's going to be the longest Spider-Man movie that we've had live action. That is confirmed,
yeah.
which is really,
It
really
is two and a
cool.
half hour runtime, right?
Yes, it's more than any of the other ones before live action wise, which is it makes sense. It makes sense because you have a
Yeah,
lot to deal with in this movie, right? But people are going to be in those seats. Like I already have my ticket. I don't know if you bought yours, but it's going to be full for the entire time. People could do a
yeah.
5-hour Spider-Man movie like the Snyder cut and people would sit their asses in the seats for that. Like it's just going to, that would be a
Oh
thing.
yeah,
Um, but yeah, to see him be quippy, to see Tom Holland be so excited about this and to try and bring things that he believes that the fans want, I think it's going to be really good. And the one thing I am very concerned about with the Punisher whole interaction, yes, they're going to have, and they were ad-libbing a lot of it. I don't know if you saw the interview with Tom where he
yes,
was saying that they were just kind of, doing their thing.
yeah,
I am scared that they're going to really MCU-ify the Punisher in this movie because they're going to have to tone him down, obviously, from the one
yeah.
shot and everything else. But
From what I've seen is, I know obviously the Punisher swears a lot. From what I've heard, every time he goes to swear, he gets webbed in the mouth, which
mhm.
I think that's a great way to counteract that. Yes, it's going to be an MCU Punisher, but it's going to be done in a manner that it should be done, I feel. Because John Bernthal is not going to play the Punisher if he can't do it the way Punisher should be. He's already stated that before.
Yeah,
So I have faith in that aspect of it because he's going to have input on his character. That's just going to happen. Obviously, him and Tom Holland have known each other for a long time. They did each other's audition tape
yep.
respectively for Spider-Man and Punisher. So they had. I'm glad they got to do a lot of ad-libbing and that they were allowed to do it. And I trust them to do it within the character.
Yeah, you're definitely correct in that. Obviously it's going to be interesting to see how they deal with actually, Punisher killing people and guns and stuff like that in a Spider-Man movie because we really haven't had that. Like every death in Spider-Man movies has been like super big and crazy and whatever. It's not people like, oh, I'm just going to mow down some goons real quick. You know what I mean? Like we haven't
Yeah.
gotten that. So we'll see what happens, and maybe they're just going to isolate those scenes where he's in, Frank has his tank, Frank's tank basically that he's driving through. Maybe it's not going to be so much that he's working because everything that we see in the trailer except for him just standing there talking to Spider-Man when he brings Zendaya there, brings MJ, right? He's
Yeah.
driving. He's driving in every other scene. You know what I mean? So I
I
think
mean,
the
that's classic Punisher though.
yeah, they're probably going to limit the amount of that because it would make sense, you know, story wise, and for Spider-Man wise, you don't want to have him just mowing people down the way he does in the shows or
Yeah.
his one shot or things like that. So they're probably going to isolate that character. I also don't think he'll have as much time as people think. I think he'll probably be one of those really, really important parts of the movie, right? He's probably
Yeah.
only going to be a max of 25, 30 minutes out of the whole film that you'll actually see him on screen.
Yeah. One thing I'm so happy about is that they're gonna recreate the Spider-Man and Punisher Civil War scene,
Yeah, with them
comic panel, I
carrying.
should say.
Yep.
Oh, I'm so excited to see that. As you know, I'm reading the Civil War storyline right now, so I'm getting there in the comics. But yeah, I'm so happy they're recreating that. And I agree with you 100%. I don't think he's going to be a lot of the focus. Like you said, it's going to be a very specified part where it's important because obviously MJ is going to be involved. So, ah,
um, I,
but
you go ahead. You go ahead. I'm thinking.
yeah, so she's obviously going to meet Punisher, and I think it's going to be a
Yes.
pretty cool interaction. How they're gonna do it though is very interesting because obviously we've seen him at this point swinging through the streets of New York as Peter Parker. We've seen scenes of that now,
Mhm.
which that could just be a cover up. He could be in this symbiote,
Or Man Spider.
but
Or Man
or
Spider.
man spider. I don't care about man spider, manscaping, whatever the hell you want to call him.
I do. I fucking want to see Man Spider. You know how many kids you
Oh,
could scare with that? It'd be
Oh
fun.
yeah, that got me back on my train of thought is I think we could see something very similar to what they did in that 90s Spider-Man cartoon with the Man Spider and
Yep.
Punisher and everything. I very much think we could see something similar to that, which is very intriguing to me because obviously Tom Holland has said he even went as far as he has fake Twitter accounts
Yeah, a
or
burner.
burner accounts and he argues with Spider-Man fans. So like he really went deep into this and he obviously he's probably watched that 90s cartoon. He's
Yeah.
around our age. He was a huge Spider-Man fan, so I'm sure he's watched that and he had a lot of input. So I definitely think we could see sprinkles of that in there, which I'm really excited about because I have a lot of love for that animated cartoon.
Yeah, and I also did want to bring up too. Obviously, I bring up Wonder Man all the time. Destin, I believe, is the director. He was the director for Wonder Man as well. So having
Okay.
him, and also having the same people who did the fight scenes from Shang-Chi, I'm very excited to see the way that Peter fights. I think we're gonna get
Yeah.
something similar to like game style Peter, where he is whooping ass. And obviously, we see
Well,
that in
I
the
mean,
trailer with him going fucking berserk. But
yeah. And he got hurt during the filming of this movie. Zendaya was actually talking about in one of their press runs. So it's definitely going to be, I believe this is going to be the most physical Spider-Man movie we've seen. Tom Holland's in pretty good shape.
oh
He has
yeah,
background in dance and everything. So he's a very athletic person. So he's a great fit for it. I'm happy to see this side of him. We've seen glimpses of it. I think this is going to be one of those comic book movies that people love. I think there's going to be a lot of fighting. I'm hoping they're going to balance it well with telling Peter Parker's story as well. Obviously, Peter Parker's kind of dead at this point, and it's just Spider-Man,
yeah.
but I still believe we're going to have some in-depth Peter Parker moments, and I'm excited for that because I believe this might be the best blended Spider-Man movie we've gotten in a long time.
Yeah,
I'm very excited.
and from the trailer too, you know, looking at it, obviously they spent a lot of time focusing on Peter himself, and then we had the interactions with MJ and Ned, and him going to the parties and things like that, or the house party.
Yeah.
So I think that it's going to have a lot of people. I think a large portion of this, especially in the first half, is going to be dealing with the repercussions of No Way Home. It's going to be going through the gallery of different rogues that Peter has to go about being a friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. I think it's going to be where he deals with Scorpion and he, you know, breaks out. And goes crazy, whatever transformation. He has his, you know, organic webbing now, which a lot of people are upset about.
So excited.
People are
I'm
upset
excited.
about it. Yeah, I think it's cool, and I don't think it'll be a lasting thing. I think this is going to be for the situation of this. I don't think they're going to continue to do that. I think if
I
they
don't know,
kill
because
Peter
if
Parker, if they kill Peter and they bring him back with the symbiote doesn't shoot webs like that. It comes from Venom itself, you know?
yeah, I think if he already has that mutation, I don't believe it's going to go away.
Hmm?
I also think it makes the Spider-Man suit look better when you don't have the web shooters live action because they're not as easy to hide live action. I've always been a fan of the organic webbing. I know it was a huge controversy when Rainey went with that for Toby's movies.
Yeah.
Like a lot of people didn't like that. I've always been a fan of it. My personal opinion is it makes sense that someone that got bit by a radioactive spider can make organic webbing.
Yeah,
To
it
me,
does.
that makes sense.
I just thought of something though. You know how we see what we all believe to be the gamma web shooters, right?
Yes.
So at what point does Peter have to deal with the Hulk in this movie by which he still has the web shooters?
Yeah, yeah, that's definitely it was definitely a ploy. We've seen his fight, kind of his fight with the Hulk, and he has the Hulk webbed up to a bunch of like boulders and stuff. He's not using gamma webs for that shit. Clearly, it's not doing shit.
Well, also too, what we understand, and Peter alluded to it with his little quip, this is the biggest and most vengeful version of the Hulk because he has been trapped and contained. We see that in the trailer. We understand that from
Yeah.
She-Hulk, even though fuck that show, it was dog shit. I don't care.
Even Bruce told us, he's like, if you see me turn green, you better
Rah!
run.
Yeah, yeah, and that's exactly what I think is that this is going to be. I think, and let's just go ahead and dive into the whole Hulk train here because we were talking about it, alluding to it earlier. Hulk thunderclapping gives me life, dude. It just makes me
Yeah.
happy, and I think this is going to be probably the most accurate since the Edward Norton film version of the Hulk. I
Oh
think
yeah.
that's what we're going to get in this movie. Just seeing him. Just seeing the bits and pieces from the trailer, and obviously he's a huge part of this promo. I also saw something that
Yeah.
potentially they were originally going to use the Lizard as that instead of the Hulk, which would make sense
I
for
mean, that would make
Spider-Man.
sense.
But
Yeah.
also too, if you can do justice to the character of Hulk that has been absolutely tarnished by the MCU, I
Yeah.
think it would be fantastic. But
I think something the MCU's done very good as of lately is they've put emphasis onto the importance of the person and the hero. And I think they're doing that with the Hulk as well, is they're definitely giving importance to Bruce Banner, which we've got a little overabundance of, and they're giving importance to Hulk too, which is something we
yes,
haven't seen in a while. MCU's done very good with that. I feel this movie's going to be some decent Parker just because the whole him being dead and everything, he doesn't exist anymore, and Spider-Man. Like we're getting both that because we're seeing the depressing side of Peter's life is
yes,
outside of Spider-Man, he doesn't do a lot. He's broke, this and that. So we're getting to see that. Daredevil did it well. We got to see Matt Murdock, Daredevil, Kingpin, whatever the hell his name
Wilson
is.
Fisk, yeah.
Wilson Fisk. There we go. Like like it's just stuff like that MCU, I think they're starting to understand that they have to have both of those to make a decent movie. Like the best part of Iron Man is when we get Tony
Tony.
Stark and Iron Man.
Yep.
Like we got that in Infinity War. Like we got Tony. Like he's like, you have to understand. Like I'm a dad. I can't lose what I have. Then there's the Iron Man side. He's like, but science and stuff like that. So I think they've obviously that was further down the line. They had some mess ups in between, but I think they're getting back to emphasizing what's important. You have to have that balance, and that's very important for the characters. Is you have that balance.
Yeah, and just going back to the MCU, I think the problem obviously with Hulk is the rights issues, right? We haven't had a Hulk movie since the Edward Norton. He's just been in all these projects. Obviously, Red Hulk for fucking whatever reason was in the Captain America movie latest. But that being said, the MCU has really just focused on Banner versus the Hulk since it's been like a decade since we've seen actual Rage Hulk. Yes, we saw,
Yeah,
and that was Thor. The last time that we saw Hulk was Thor.
yeah.
But moving forward, they've done the Smart Hulk thing. Nobody liked that, man, and I didn't either. I don't like Smart Hulk. I don't. I don't want Bruce Banner to be in control because that's what the character is supposed to be, is two separate parts. Like, Bruce always wants to die, but he just can't. That man is worse off than Peter in most fucking comic runs. He hates his existence. But
Yeah.
that's both sides of the character. And then when Hulk takes over and does these crazy things, it's like, I'll make a reference. I don't think you've watched it, obviously, but Jujutsu Kaisen, you have Sukuna and you have Itadori, right? He's embodying the demon inside of him. And when the demon does these horrific things, goes and bursts out and kills people and does all this crazy shit, the human part of him, he hates it when he knows what he's done, because he is the embodiment of the Hulk. And to me, that is a lot of what the Hulk is. But yes, he is a hero in in a lot of comics. He's not, though. In a lot of comics, Hulk is a fucking bad man. That's a bad man, as
Yeah.
Stephen A would say. You know?
Uh, And I think this is a great segue because we can jump into leaks, our daily segment.
Yeah, right.
So there were a lot of leaks before the Spider-Man movie that Mark Ruffalo got fired from being the Hulk. There was a lot of leaks going out about that. And that is why I tell people all the time, you can't always listen to leaks. Like, yes, it makes sense. He spoils shit. He's been very political. Oh, they fired Mark Ruffalo. No, no, they didn't. He's in the Spider-Man movie.
Yeah. I think, I kind of wonder what they're going to do, like what the plan is going to be, and how long he wants to remain as playing the character in the MCU. Though I think that'll be an interesting thing going forward, because he's getting up there, isn't he? He's
Yeah, but also he can play the Hulk for as long as he wants realistically. The Hulk is basically all CGI. He just has to be Bruce Banner, which does not require a lot of physicality.
and you know what? I don't know. I never really liked Mark Ruffalo. I'm just gonna hot take. I never really liked him as Bruce Banner. I just the his really good appearance, like in the Avengers, that was the best iteration of the Bruce Banner character for me in the MCU. I think every other performance after that, and Age of Ultron, but that was mostly Hulk. That was just Hulk.
Yeah.
I just don't think I like him. I really do like Edward Norton. I'm sorry, I'm gonna say it. I think he is superior, and his Hulk is
Mm.
superior.
I didn't like Norton's Banner.
Really. I think he was a younger
Yes.
version of the character, and that to me is why I felt that it made more sense. He's not as
What
mature,
I
he's not
want,
as wise.
yeah, what I want from a Bruce Banner is a very like scrawny, smart, nerdy guy that is very scientific in his talk. He's a very scientific person. We haven't really gotten that a lot. I mean, the Eric Bana movies, Bana, I think it was Bana. I think his name was Eric Bana. I probably
No.
fucked that up. But in his Hulk movie, we kind of got that. But I think they try going too intimidating with Bruce Banner. Like, I felt like Edward Norton's Bruce Banner tried to be a little too intimidating, and that's not what I want from Banner. Banner is not someone that tries to intimidate. He's a science guy through and through. He is a scrawny, wimpy science guy. That's what I see as Bruce Banner. I don't see that in Mark Ruffalo. He did have some great Bruce Banner moments in the original Avengers movie when him and Tony are doing their nerd off and shit. Like,
Yeah.
that is the Bruce Banner that I want. We don't really get that with Bruce Banner. I think we're going to see him as a professor in this movie, which I think is going to be cool because
Yeah.
that's kind of what I envision Banner as. But also, like, the side that we don't get to see is the one that the Banner always wants to be like secluded as well, though. Like he wants to be secluded because he's very well aware of what can happen when he turns into the Hulk. Him teaching in a school, granted, he has the gauntlets and everything that keep him under control. Him teaching in a school is like, oh, to me, I don't see that as Banner. Like, yes, the scientific side, but I'm not seeing that secluded side that I want to see from Banner.
Yeah, you're talking about somebody that's more, personable in Mark Ruffalo's version of
Yeah,
the character, where he's going and like, teaching a class. I understand where you're coming from. However, I do want to say you can make the same type of argument with Reed Richards in the Fantastic Four movie as Pedro Pascal, because his performance is, if you're talking about Reed from the comics, he is in similar style to Bruce Banner, where he's more of a scientific nerd, geeky, not really the
yeah,
forefront. He's not as brash or in referencing Edward Norton being potentially intimidating. I don't think that Edward Norton was so much that. I think a lot of it was a part of the script too, but I think that they were also trying to lean into the fact that this was him becoming the Hulk. This is him having to
yeah,
deal with the rage and anger and build up and stuff like that. You are correct, though. We really haven't seen anything kind of like the isolated, secluded, the Vegas side where he's out in the desert of Bruce Banner Hulk, where instead of Vegas, but Nevada, where he's out in the desert
yeah.
secluding himself. We won't see that though. And the thing,
No,
it's just because of the rights. And obviously, this is a Spider-Man movie. This isn't a Hulk movie. We might never get a fucking
yeah,
Hulk movie, but just
no,
because of the rights issues. But we're not going to see that. And obviously, Mark Ruffalo, as his performance of Bruce Banner, he's more personable, he's more outgoing and speaking to people. So it makes sense in the framework of the character we have established here in the MCU for him to be a teacher and to be, doing classes and stuff like that. I see it, I
yeah,
understand it. I also think we obviously see in the trailer that his gauntlets are what stops him from becoming the Hulk are broken. That's how he transforms. The question is, so how does that happen? Who's going to be the person that destroys those
the mind, it's the mind controlling person, whoever it is. Also, you brought up the gauntlets. I forgot about this. Did you see the thing I sent you where they have a little Easter egg on there? It
Mm-mm.
has AM and I forget the issue, but it's a reference to the first issue that Hulk made an appearance in a Spider-Man comic book.
That's
It's
cool.
engraved on the gauntlet. Yeah, so I thought that was a cool little Easter egg. I love shit like that. Um, do you want to jump? Are we still talking about the trailer? Do you want to segue into the father since you brought up Mr. Fantastic? That kind of popped in my head was
Oh,
the whole
Mr.
father thing.
Fantastic is your daddy for Father's Day, huh? Yeah, but
No, no.
no. Oh no, it's actually Summers, right? Cyclops he's the ideal dad. That's what I've heard. Yeah.
God, I hate you. I
He
hate
absolutely
you.
hates, by the way, for the podcast. He hates Cyclops as a dad. That being said, yeah, we can go ahead and jump. So, in honor of Father's Day, in the fact that I'm a cat dad, this is a real dad right here on the other side, Christian. We wanted to bring up who our favorite soup related fathers are in comic universe or whatever. So, if you want to go first, you can go ahead.
Okay. I have a few on my list. Obviously, the most stereotypical one I'm going to say it's going to be Ben Parker. Granted, he wasn't his biological dad. He was
Yep.
Spider-Man's dad. He came up with the greatest quote for any superhero ever, with great powers comes great responsibilities. Without that quote, uh, who knows if Spider-Man would have took off like he did, but that was such an important quote. And without Ben Parker delivering it, we probably don't get that quote, even though they had May Parker do it. And
Don't tell the Russo brothers
shut
that.
up. Yeah, but yes, Ben Parker, he was a great dad to Peter growing up. It's unfortunate what happened to him. Um, Papa Kent, I
That's a
hate
good one.
Superman, but Papa Kent, one of the best dads there is.
Is.
He really is. Those are like my top two. Like when you think of dads from superheroes, those are like two that always come to mind. You brought up Mr. Fantastic. I think in the aspect of doing things to protect his children, he is a good dad in that aspect. His problem is he's very absentee sometimes because he's
Yes.
such a scientific mind. And you brought up the Fantastic Four movie with Pedro Pascal. I think this was like one of the most accurate Mr. Fantastics that we've got because there was times in the movies where he like faded away into his
Into his
scientific and she
mind.
was
Yeah.
like,
Yep.
yeah. And so he is a good dad. He was absent at times. I think that was part of the whole thing going on with Fox that they probably did that. But I've heard as of late, he's been a good father. He does do a lot of things to protect his children. That's number three. Luke Cage is a great father in the comics.
That's a poll. All right.
We don't
Yeah.
get to see a lot of it. Yeah, we don't get to see a lot of it, but he is in the comics that I've read where he's been a dad. He is a great dad. He looks out for his daughter. He's very protective over his daughter. He's very protective over Jessica as well in the comic books, if people don't know that. So Luke Cage is definitely up there. I'm trying to think of a fifth one because I had a fifth one. Hmm. I'll let you go.
I definitely didn't do top 5. There were a couple of people that came into mind immediately. And obviously, Uncle Ben, I actually have pulled up. I wanted to just give a shout out to the specific Uncle Ben that we had representation in the movies. Cliff Robertson from the Toby movies. That was Uncle Ben.
Oh,
It's him.
yes.
That's him.
Yeah.
Okay? But you didn't pull up the one that came to my mind immediately, and I will give you that quote, and I'm so glad you didn't say this. He may have been your father, boy, but he wasn't your daddy. Yondu,
Oh my
baby.
God, John Doe.
Yondu. In those
Oh,
movies, in
man.
Guardians, that is dad right there. That is the
Yeah.
daddy right there. He sacrificed
I'm
himself for
Mary
Peter
Poppins,
Quill. Yeah, that's the first person that came to my mind. What a great performance.
That's
What a good
crazy.
character that Yondu is, that he came into the forefront. That's awesome. It's exactly who I thought was.
Dad until that movie.
But we don't even need to think about he actually wasn't a bad dad. If he had given him
No,
to
that's
Ego, Peter would be dead.
Yeah. Yeah, that actually is a good one. I didn't even think of that. That's
That
crazy.
was a good pull
Also,
right there.
you made me think of this now. I'm just gonna give him his flowers. He's not a dad, but Alfred Pennyworth.
Alfred, yeah, Alfred's a good one. Yeah.
Dude, he has been a great father role model figure for Batman. I don't even know if that was his last name. I could have just fucked that up and offended a bunch of people.
I had another one too. Grandpa Max from Ben 10. Obviously, Grandpa.
Oh,
That man is a
yes.
legend, and he's a plumber, and he's badass. That is their dad, essentially, for both Gwen and Ben, even though they're cousins, and it's,
Yeah.
the whole deal. But, yeah, that was another one that came up.
Man, I feel like comics give us more bad dads than good ones.
Well, I mean, every superhero has to have some difficulties in life, I guess,
Yeah. Like, it's kind of crazy that no one in the Summers family's ever been a good dad.
Not even in the 90 X-Men or the X-Men 97, where obviously they care very much about, I don't know, whatever. You can have your opinion. You can have your opinion. They care about their kids, that's all I'm saying.
Yeah, caring about your kid don't make you a good parent.
Well, neither does Yondu
Dude.
fucking stealing a child,
Bro.
but we still love him for it.
Bro, Cable hated Cyclops for like the entire first season.
He didn't hate him. He just didn't want to reveal. He has to be kind of distant. And they made amends. They made amends.
I know, but what his literal quotes was like, "Oh, now you want to be a dad?"
So who do we think is gonna be if? Just go back to Spider-Man real quick. Who's gonna be the daddy Cyclops for Jean if Sadie Sink is Jean? Who do you fan cast in that role?
Me.
No, me. You have kids, man. You have a wife. Let's not do all that.
Bro,
Okay.
bro, do you know Cyclops' original nickname in the comics was Slim Summers? Bro, I'm Cyclops.
Jesus Christ.
To me, my X-Men.
To me, I can't think of that without hearing the N-word from the Twitter edit of that. To me, my,
Oh,
I can't.
Damn it,
I saw
Steven.
it so many times. No, but
we're
that,
gonna get our first dislike because of you.
whatever. My mic. Whatever. Yeah. So Father's Day stuff. Yeah, I didn't have a list like that, but yeah, Yondu coming up was the first thing in my head.
Yeah.
Uncle Ben, obviously too. We
Okay.
talked about that. Let's move on to Supergirl. because that is
All
coming out
right.
in the next 6 days. I think it's 6 days. It will be coming
Something
out.
like that.
So I'm seeing a lot on social media. Obviously, you have the Snyder bots who absolutely cannot stand DC and anything to do with James Gunn. They hate all of it, right? However, we do know for a fact that this movie is tracking really, really low for box office and tickets, pre-order tickets. Um,
Yeah.
how bad do you think this movie is going to perform?
I think this is going to be one of those movies that doesn't perform well box office, but as soon as it hits streaming, it's going to be one of the top movies in the streaming.
Hmm, interesting. Yeah, I don't think it's gonna have a great box office, especially at.
I don't either.
They've had a decent amount of promo for it. They've had trailers. They've had social media kind of binges where it pops out for a little bit. But I just think that the character of Supergirl, to do that as the second in the DCU,
Yeah.
that's a risky move.
Here's how I know this movie is not going to do well in the box office. The fact that they have Jason Momoa promoting the movie and telling people to go see it when he probably has a max of 15 minutes in that movie, because he's not going to be in that movie a lot.
Yeah,
That tells you that they're grasping at straws because they know Jason Momoa will put some people in seats just because it's him,
yeah.
and he was born to play Lobo.
Lobo, yes, yeah.
Aquaman was such a horrible casting. I don't even want to get into that right now, but yeah, I don't think this movie is going to do well in the box office at all. I definitely believe it'll be one of those streamers where as soon as it hits streams, that's when it's going to skyrocket.
I think it's going to be similar to the way that Mando and Grogu has been in terms of performance. I think when that hits streaming, I don't think it's on Disney Plus yet because it was just in theaters.
No.
I think when that goes on to streaming, I think it'll blow up a lot more. We'll probably see a lot more social media stuff for it. I really haven't seen shit from Mando and Grogu. Nobody has talked about that movie except for a couple of podcasts that I listened to. Right? You are
Yeah.
correct in saying Supergirl. I don't understand the vision for doing that second in your DCU. Like when I think of
Yeah.
DCU, I think you want to do kind of the main characters. You want to do the Justice League. You want to like Superman. That's a great idea for our first movie, and to do a
Yeah.
really good Superman with David Cornsweet. Fuck you, Snyder fans. He's great, and I do. I love Henry Cavill. However, the script that they gave him and the way that Zack Snyder had written that character, it wasn't Superman. I've said this before. I don't believe that. However, doing
Yeah.
Supergirl second to do the Superman family and all that, and he's already working on Man of Tomorrow, which is going to be a
Yeah.
Brainiac movie, obviously. So Supergirl, I just don't think he's
I
going to perform well.
it's very James Gunn fashion though, because James Gunn likes to do niche characters. I mean, I remember him talking about the X-Men team that he would want to do, and like it was the most random team ever. And I'm like,
Yeah.
yeah, that's James Gunn. That's the stuff he likes to do. He likes to do those niche characters. I kind of get why he's doing Supergirl second because it's going to give us more into kind of the Superman lore. And I think he's trying to really build Superman as that cornerstone because
Yeah.
that's really all we're getting so far is Superman related stuff besides the Lanterns, which shit, we don't know that could have ties to Superman as well.
Yeah,
I don't think
Lanterns.
it's going
You go ahead. Go ahead. Ooh.
to because James Gunn's very adamant about not everything having to tie together. But I mean, shit, the end of season two of Peacemaker definitely is going to have some ties to the broader universe at some point. So it's stuff like that. I get why he's doing Supergirl second because he did Superman first. So Supergirl appeared in that movie. So obviously it makes sense. Hey, this character we had in this movie, let's do a movie for her. I don't remember if she got high praise for the little amount of time she was in that movie. I've actually seen her get slammed a lot because people are like, oh, this isn't Super Wonder Wop Bop Bop. Shit like that.
Yeah.
That's all I hear when people complain about females they cast as characters not being attractive enough or shit. Like, shut up.
Yeah, with the whole Millie Alcock thing, I think the problem is too. in the Flash movie, yes, she wasn't blonde. That was a gorgeous woman right there. However, like playing Supergirl, but also too, the Supergirl show that we had, Melissa Benoist is I think it's Benoist. I don't know how to pronounce her last name. She is very pretty too. So, but Millie Alcock isn't a bad looking girl. She's not. I don't know why people just take like the still frames of her and do that shit. And it's mostly Snyder fans, Snyder bots. Fuck you. But that's typically them that are doing that shit. And there's this one guy who beats his wife on Twitter or something like that. Like he has charges for it. It's like Eros or something like that, his name. But he just keeps shit talking because he's a Snyder bot, whatever. Anybody who's gone on Twitter and seen that, he's always in the feed. Bullshit. But yeah, to me, I think that from what I understand, the comics are very good for what they're adapting for this movie for Supergirl. Like, people like the comics. I really like the cover art. I haven't read the comic, but I know what he's adapting it off of, and I should read the comic prior to going and see the movie just so I get kind of a more, a better feel for it. Supergirl, like I said, you are correct in wanting to, like, James Gunn definitely wants to establish Superman as the cornerstone. And I was going to say, the other thing, though, is that we're getting Clayface. And Clayface coming out, yes, it has ties to Batman, obviously, right? I don't know. I don't know how people are going to receive, like, Clayface, I think, is going to be fantastic. I don't think I'm going to like Supergirl as much as I want to, though. I think Jason Momoa is going to be the best part of that movie. And you're right. He's going to be there for 15 minutes. That's all we're going to get a Lobo. I don't know. I don't know how to feel about it. That being said, in the essence of Supergirl coming, I did want to bring up, let's talk about some woman characters from the comics, some female superheroes that, we like and enjoy. So, do you want to go first?
Black Cat.
We were just talking about that, some NSFW stuff. Yeah, we can't talk about that on the pod.
But no, I think I've had this conversation with you a lot. That is the only on-screen romance we haven't got to see from Peter that's been one of his like main romances. There's Gwen Stacy, Mary Jane, and then Felicia, which they have a very complicated relationship, but I feel like they had the most realistic relationship as well in the comics. Like it's a very hit or miss relationship they have. Sometimes they hate each other, sometimes they love each other. But she's almost always there for him. Like that's something that's kind of been established. Like in the comics, like even when they're against each other, she's always like there for him. And that's something Mary Jane wasn't always like that in the comics. It's very hit or miss how Mary Jane's been written in the comics, which is unfortunate. But Black Cat's almost always written the same. Yes, she always backstabs him and shit, but she's also always there for him. I want to see that romance explored. Like, I'm really bummed that we haven't got to see it yet because Black Cat's one of those characters. Like, she's such a, like, I love her character. Like, she's a villain, but she's not a villain. She's a bad person, but she's not a bad person. She really walks that moral gray area and dips her feet in both sides. And that's kind of how their relationship is. It's a very rocky relationship, which I know not a lot of people want to see that on performed on live action, but I think it's realistic for a lot of relationships. Not every relationship's perfect.
Yeah.
Not every relationship is gonna have all this, but I think they would have the most realistic on-screen relationship, not just the lovey-dovey, oh, Mary Jane, love of my life shit. Like, I want to see their complicated relationship explored. She's always been one of my favorite female characters. That's also probably due to the 90s Spider-Man cartoon as well.
Yeah, in reference to Black Cat, I think the first Spider-Man Insomniac game did a very, very good job, especially in the DLC, which I'm playing through, in describing her character and just giving, like, a foundation to what the character is. There are iterations in the comics, a lot of which where people go, okay, Black Cat really only likes Spider-Man. She doesn't like Peter. That's a very big thing, that she's into more of the suit and him, and doesn't want to even see his face type of deal, but just pull the mask up and, bang or whatever they do.
Yeah.
But that's a lot for that. But there are iterations, like you said, where they have a more complicated relationship. And the thing is, Peter is always such a good, virtuous person. He's trying to make her better, but she's not going to do that. We know that she's always gonna. It's the same thing. Gwen Stacy always fucking dies unless she becomes Spider-Gwen or Gwenpool or something like that, right? She's always gonna die. It's the fulfilling prophecy. Black Cat is always gonna backstab Peter. But yeah, Insomniac version I think is my favorite iteration of the Black Cat character. You don't really get, like, obviously he's trying to be with MJ in that game, you know, and they do in the second game. They become, you know, they move in together in May's place. That being said, just seeing, you don't even get like the full backstory, but the interactions of Peter and Black Cat are really great in that game.
Yeah, like you can tell he has genuine love for her.
Yes.
And in a sense, you can tell she has it back for him. But it's a very complicated relationship. And I want to see it explored because I believe that will give a lot of depth to Spider-Man as well. That he's not, obviously he's always a genuine person, but I think this will get to see that even your genuine people, like there's still so much like complications that they can have in their life. Granted, Spider-Man's biggest thing is always having complications in his life, but I think this is a different sense in a way.
I did want to bring up too, and this is why I brought up how she's more in love with the mask than she is in a lot of iterations than Peter. This would be the time to do it. The reason being is because Peter doesn't exist, right? It is Spider-Man. It would make a whole lot of sense for that to be the relationship. And we've I don't think we've done it on the podcast, but you've hinted at it before. What if that's Sadie Sink is actually, obviously it won't be because we've seen her now with her powers, but
Have we though?
Well,
They didn't show her face.
She had a fucking mask on, but it was like you could see her head. Come on, bro. But no, it would be a good time to do it. They obviously won't, and I think they want to lean in. Obviously, you have Zendaya. They're going to lean into that. It's going to be, this MJ, which isn't even Mary Jane, by the way. She's not Mary Jane in the universe.
Nope.
She is technically an original character. But yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they definitely don't explore Black Cat.
Do you want me to jump into my next one?
Mm-hmm.
All right, Colleen Wing.
There you go.
Bro. So I've never read, I don't know about her in the comics, so I don't know if she is cool as she was in the show, but she was literally one of the bright spots of the Iron Fist TV show. I was more of a fan of the show than a lot of people were, but she was one of the best parts of that show. Like the complexities of her character, the character development she had. Shit, by the end of the series, she became an Iron Fist. And I'm kind of hoping that with the Defenders getting brought back together and everything, I don't want them to do a Defenders, but I do want to know what's going on with Colleen because she did get the powers of the Iron Fist, so I want to know what's going on with that. I was a huge fan of her character. They had a perfect actor playing her as well, so I hope they keep that actor if they do bring Colleen Wing back. So that's one of them that's up there for me. I'll let you finally name one of yours though.
So, I do want to bring up Wonder Woman. Obviously, a lot of people put her on the Mount Rushmore of superheroes, especially for female representation in comics. The problem, and we talked about this before, is she is often disserviced by the people that are writing her character. But she is a very interesting character, a very unique character, bringing Amazonian, bringing in mythos of Greek mythology and things like that. Having those characters in a lot of those iterations of the comics and the version of her character, I think it's really cool. I think having her basically come to terms with the world of man, having been separated from Earth, and having Trevor be the guy who kind of brings her, with him, just him showing up on the island in a lot of iterations, that starts the whole deal with her wanting to go and be outside of Amazon, So, she's one of my top female superheroes. I hope that we see her done with justice. No pun intended for Justice League. But just to see her be well represented as a character, and I've talked about this before, I think Gal Gadot is absolutely fucking dog shit. I think she's a terrible actor. But in the first movie that they had of her, it made sense because she always has the confused look on her face. She doesn't know what the fuck is happening all the time. It makes sense in the first movie, where she's having to leave the island for the Zack Snyderverse. She has to leave the island. She doesn't know anything about the world of man. I do love Wonder Woman. I think that she needs to be well represented, and I think that James Gunn could do a very good job of doing that. Also, we're bringing up old shows. Hawk Girl from the Justice League animated show is great. I do love me some Hawk Girl. And I think that she also they don't get a lot of representation in a lot of media.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Another one I really, obviously with the Spider-Verse, Into the Spider-Verse, Beyond the Spider-Verse, Spider-Gwen has been such a
Yes.
huge character in that. And she's a great character. Like the depth that they really gave her in that second movie as well. Like she's become one of those top female characters. Obviously after the first movie, I think she really began to pop off in the comic books as well. But she is another great character that if you want to look at like female characters, she's probably on that list for me as well now after
Mm.
watching those Spider-Verse movies.
Yeah. Also, too, another couple of good pulls. I do want to say Raven, in any
Yeah.
iteration, is a really cool character, especially with Trigon being
Yeah.
her father and having the whole demon possessed type of deal. Where I love the animated movies that they've done by which she is basically drained, just trying to keep him suppressed the whole time. With him breaking out and then fighting Darkseid in those animated movies
Yeah.
is really cool. But she has internal conflict in a way that she's written very well in both the animated show that we've seen, but also in the comics and in other movies and so on and so forth. Obviously, going with that too, I bring up Starfire, and they have a very interesting lore for her as well, going back to her home planet, having Blackfire. Just obviously, there are some things where it's like, oh yeah, she just has to learn your language by kissing you, which is kind of like, okay, fetishes from the writers being not masked
Yeah.
very well. But those characters are really cool.
Yeah, and then obviously I'll bring up Adam Eve, who's been one of my favorite characters in Invincible.
Yes.
She is a very well-written character. She has a lot of depth now. I love characters that have depth, and it's great that I really think as of recently too, like now that I'm thinking about female characters we're bringing up or more recent characters, like they're finally, a lot of them are getting spotlights that they deserve. We're getting original takes on characters. I mean, there's definitely some bad ones in there, like we kind of hinted at Mary Jane's not always written very well at all, and especially in those Spider-Man movies, the Tobey Spider-Man movies, where it's like, oh yeah, they had that kiss scene, but a lot of that is Mary Jane just like being all about herself. So I mean, it's very nice.
Yeah, with the Mary Jane, her representation in those Toby movies is absolutely dog shit, and she comes across as a massive bitch the whole time. That's the problem with her writing in those movies, because she's always, it's either, oh, I want to go and date these guys and fuck you, Peter, or, all this. It kind of makes me think, you brought up Adam Eve. What was Mark's first girlfriend in the show? I forget what her name was. It's escaping me. Anyway, she was written like Mary
Yep.
Jane. She was.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh yeah, well, Mark, you're a superhero, and I knew you were a superhero, but I fucking hate you for not being around for me all the time. That's how I feel about it. But getting actual good writing for female characters is important. And let's even bring up Miss Marvel. We've just been talking about that, and
Yes.
she is a great actress who is playing the
Oh
character,
yes.
and she loves the source material. Again,
She
actors who
does.
love the source material, that's who you need. And directors,
She
people, yeah.
yeah. She was actually like calling out Feige during the making of the show because, spoiler alert, they made her a mutant. She
Yeah.
was not a fan of that. She's like, Kamala is not a mutant. She is an inhuman.
Inhuman.
Um, but the actor they chose to play Kamala she's so charming. She's such a charming character. Like she does it so well. Like she has that oh, let me write this fan fiction shit that she does in the comics. And like, it's so awesome, like seeing her character. And you could tell she's excited to be Kamala. And that's what you love to see from characters. Um, like I told you, I highly recommend Miss Marvel, and I'm glad you went and watched it because it is a, I wouldn't say really good show, but it's a very enjoyable show to watch. It's very cultural centric. It's when you can have culture represented properly and women represented properly as they should be, it's very nice to see. I can't wait till you watch the Marvels because I believe she was very entertaining in that movie too, because she just got to, she's a huge Captain Marvel fan. She got to nerd out over Captain Marvel. So that was really fun. There's a very end credit scene that you're gonna want to see.
Oh yeah, is it going to be important? Very important.
Eh, kind of. Do you want me to spoil it for you right now?
No, because I can watch it after this. I
Okay.
can watch it.
I
Yeah.
was gonna say there's a very important scene at the end of the Marvels, but I liked her in that too. Like it was very fun. She's the actor they chose is just great because, like you said, she loves the source material.
Yes.
She's a great representation of the character. She's very youthful too. Like she is on the younger side of act. Matter of fact, I think she was in high school and she was telling a story about it. It's funny, I'm diving into her lore now, but she was
Yeah.
telling a story about it. How Kevin Feige called her or something like that, and he's like, "Can you fly out?" And she's like, "I have a math test."
She seems very genuine. She seems like such a genuine
Oh yeah.
person, which I do appreciate. Yeah. I will say since I have finished not Captain Marvel, Jesus. Now that I finished the show, I will say the ending kind of didn't hit super well for me. I didn't like the CGI kind of slop fest and what they were doing at the end. It was,
Yeah.
the final battle was kind of meh to me. Obviously, she cares about, I forget what his name is, which it kind of sucks.
Yeah.
But the other guy with powers, she
Hmm.
cares for him. And it turns into this thing, she's trying to help him get away. I didn't really understand his crash out with like, oh well, you didn't tell me my mom died, but I'm like breaking out from these powers that I can't control. She has an immediate well, not an immediate, but a really quick grasp on her powers. He does not. And
Yeah.
maybe that has to do with his mother having, because of the way that she perished and gave him the powers versus the way that Kamala
Mhm.
did. I don't know how that works, but
So I'm maybe grasping at straws here, but I think the reason she had a grasp on her powers was because she's a huge superhero fan and she was basically kind of emulate what they were doing. So she's kind of had like understanding of what they're doing in a sense. That may just be grasping at straws because it's called Miss Marvel. It's her
yeah.
title show. She's gonna grasp her powers a little quicker, but I think that'd be a cool explanation to it is just because she has that background because she is a huge like fan of superheroes.
Yeah. Yeah. The end, it was a good show overall. I'd probably give it a 6.5 out of 10, which is, I'm going on like, it sounds harsh. However, 5 to me is mid. Like that is the medium 1 to 10, right? Six and a
Yeah.
half. It's better than average. It's one of the better Marvel television shows that they've done post Netflix. Daredevil and
Hmm.
Punisher and stuff like that. It's one of the better ones, and I'm glad that you put me onto it because obviously I wouldn't have watched it. And again, it came out at a time where I was very disenfranchised with what they were doing with Marvel. That being said, again, just to rope it back one more
Yeah.
time, Department of Damage Control is a huge part of that show. Massive part
Yeah.
of that show. So again, I think really what Marvel is doing is they are establishing this as kind of the next big bad that they're going to have to deal with, kind of behind the scenes though. Not in the sense of like a main villain.
Yeah.
Do we think
And
that the leader of the DODC is going to have powers like it's alluded to from comics or things like that? Do we think that he will?
no,
Mm,
but now I'm thinking about this. One of the first movies that's getting written, it's getting written right now. One of the first movies we're getting after Secret Wars is an X-Men movie.
hmm.
So either they go the reboot route or they go Damage Control has been hiding mutants for a very long time because Damage Control is almost almost always been in the MCU.
Yeah,
Because I believe they're even back in the first Iron Man movie.
yeah.
Yeah. So that could be why we haven't seen mutants. That could be another way to explain it, is that they've just been hiding them for so long.
I had a brain blast. I'm thinking of Logan, and I'm thinking of the fact that they had the mutant hunters. That
Yeah.
is a real possibility that they could do something with that for the DODC, by which they had these mutant hunters, which would explain how they were finding the mutants and locking them
Yeah.
away, and the potential that you have a
Well,
psychic
cause,
character such as Jean that has the ability to break out of that, or a Charles Xavier. I don't know, maybe just throwing it
yeah,
out there.
we're getting Cassandra Nova again.
Yeah, right. No, that is a man. DODC is going to be a huge part moving forward, obviously, and that is a
Yeah.
great way to put Trask into the MCU as well. That's a
Hmm.
very good way to do that by having him be connected, maybe as somebody who is a part of the DODC moving forward.
Yeah.
Yeah. But we're gonna have to see how it pans out for it, though, and I'm very
I
excited. We're
know.
we're almost a month away from Spider-Man. We get to see all of that. Yep. But on the bright side, we do have, again, we mentioned Supergirl is coming. We're gonna have X-Men '97 season 2. That's gonna be coming.
Dude, did you see they're doing the first three episodes at once?
No, I didn't, but that's badass. That is badass.
Yeah. So it's 9 episodes and they're doing 3 episodes. So that's like, I'm like, damn, they're really going like 33% of the episodes off the rip. It's getting very good reviews right now. I believe it's actually at 100% on the critics, because obviously critics get to see it early.
Yeah.
It's at 100% right now. I'm so excited. They just released the titles of all the episodes as well. Um, the first 3 episodes are going to be focusing on Apocalypse,
Yeah.
which I think makes sense if you watch the first season. So I'm very excited. I believe we're going to have a very centric episode, because one of the titles of the episode was, I don't remember, but it was very Wolverine centric. So obviously, with Wolverine being one of the popular characters of the X-Men, he's going to get his own episode, because he did have his adamantium ripped out. If you didn't see the first season, he did have that ripped out. So there's a good chance we're going to get a feral Wolverine. And that's going to be fun. I wish I had my Funko Pop with me so I could show that off.
Yeah. You Funko Pop. Oh yeah. Um. Yeah. I am excited for it. I'm gonna have to rewatch X-Men '97 season 1 just because it's been so long since I've seen it. It's only been like a year, but still, it feels forever just because there is such a large. There's so many things that are happening comic wise, and trying to keep up with all of it all the time is like,
Yeah.
like I'm sitting here looking at
Dude, I know.
absolute.
I just seen some.
Go ahead.
Yeah. I just seen something that was showing like all the Marvel stuff it was releasing, and it didn't even show the DC stuff. Like, it was like Spider-Man, X-Men, it ends with the Avengers movie. Um, we're getting Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man season 2. I don't know if you've watched that yet.
No, I haven't.
Okay. Definitely put that on your homework list. It's definitely a very different take on Spider-Man, but it was very entertaining to watch. It focused really on his high school years as Spider-Man. Um, Doctor Strange kind of has a presence in it. There's other things. I don't want to spoil too much for you, but it was a pretty good show. I enjoyed it. They definitely did some race swapping, but I didn't have a problem with it. It didn't bother me at all. Tombstone plays a very important part of the first season. I know you're a big Tombstone guy, so you get to see
Yeah.
that as well. So yeah, obviously Stephen has worked very hard behind the scenes for a lot of our profile stuff, Facebook, Twitter, our YouTube page. Give us a follow on Facebook, give us a follow on Twitter. If you guys have questions for us, we would love to answer those questions. We always brainstorm at least once a week what we're going to talk about every episode. We go on tangents though.
Yeah.
We know going into this that we're going to go on 2 hours, but what we just did 2 hours basically 2 hours off of just a couple topics. But yeah, go give us a follow. Let us know what you want to see. We do this as a passion project, but we also want to give people something they want to listen to as well.
Yeah, I definitely concur, and thank you for giving me appreciation for going and making fucking fan art of us, which was fun. But yeah, definitely give us a like and follow. The links will be, as I mentioned in the beginning, in the description for Facebook and Twitter. Make sure to hit us up if you have stuff that you want us to talk about. We love to interact with people, so go ahead and let us know. Thank you all for watching, and my internet is going to fucking drive me crazy. But